Standard Bank has a 150-year history in South Africa and since 1990 has built operations in 18 countries elsewhere in Africa. It has a market cap of 187.6 billion rand and is 20% held by ICBC of China. It trades on a price to earnings ratio of 12 and a dividend yield of 3.3%. Now, Standard Bank, where do we like? Because if we look at the share price, it's pretty much tracking sideways. I mean, this is nothing
to get very excited about.
Exactly. I was just looking for a polite term there.
No, and I think their biggest shareholder, which of course bought shares, a 20% stake back a little bit further back, their average price was 120, and as you can see, it's only passed that about once in that time. So they'll be demanding their pound of flesh. Obviously, there's a new management, so this is quite interesting.
Well, let's talk about this new management structure because, Levan, I'm coming to you in a second, but I am never a fan of dual CEOs.
Well, if JP Morgan can be run by Jamie Dimon and Jamie Dimon alone, surely you would have to guess. I think where the board was probably split was, is Sim Shabalala too young? He's 45. But in fairness, Jacko Murray got the job younger, I think. I think Jacko got it when he was 44 or 43. So maybe it's an experience thing. Put Ben there and have Ben Kruger and maybe have Sim in the background with Sim, the heir apparent.
We don't have the leisure to go around choosing two CEOs because we can't make a firm decision.
And it probably gives investors, two more things to think about.
Levan, what do you make of this dual CEO? I thought the days of dual CEOs were over.
I'm not happy about it. It shows quite an indecisive decision at the top of the bank. However, there must be some wisdom behind it, as you mentioned, probably to groom Shabalala for the years to come. Both of these gentlemen, as it happens, have a very good track record, very well educated and very experienced in the banking sector. As you mentioned, the chart looks sideways. If you have to gauge this over a 4-year period, the stock has doubled. So it hasn't really been a bad investment choice. Over an 8-year period, it's a different story.
So you've made money out of Standard Bank?
I think Standard Bank's been a plus for clients and for anyone that's held the stock.
Sasha, we're being a little harsh on Standard Bank, saying it's going nowhere. It hasn't gone anywhere.
Well, I think when the comparison comes to First Rand, that's when you'll really see who's been the outperformer. But if you compare it to their other peers, maybe it's not a fair comparison because you'll see a lot of them have tracked sideways for the same sort of period.
How does the market rate their African operations now? They've always had that first move advantage on the continent. Are they still very firmly there?
I think so, and I think the key tie-up will be resources and Africa in general. So the ICBC holding, 20% holding, the fact that it's a Chinese bank and the Chinese are resource hungry on our continent, I think that bodes very well for Standard Bank and typically when a Chinese investment firm makes an investment, they've got a much longer dated period than, say, for instance, even you and I, who would think on a 10-year basis. They're thinking 30 plus years, yeah.
Levan, ICBC, have we seen the results of that partnership coming to fruition? Are you satisfied with what you've seen to this point?
I think Standard Bank has been very bold. The move has been well timed. There certainly is a long-term initiative. Look at their history, and they've also been very well placed geographically. They've had a Latin American exposure through the 90s, exposure to Eastern Europe and Russia, although it did fail near the end and they had to tame some of their investments, but it showed quite a bold move on the side of the bank. I think the Chinese initiative puts them in a very well position, in a good position to link Africa and banking, which is something Standard Bank's, I think, married to.
You're wanting to add there?
People who are old enough will remember in 1998, the Russian debt crisis almost, I think it cost shareholders something like 60-70%. So that was in 98. So there have been a few near-death experiences. And I use that term, throw it around rather loosely. It is a well-managed entity, been around for a long, long time. You get a sense in terms of quality, they're probably top of the pile.
Hot or not on Standard Bank, Levan?
I'm hot on Standard Bank.
Hot or not?
I am hot on Standard Bank. I think they've bedded down, they've done a lot of hard work in these years where the share price has been going sideways. And I think long-suffering shareholders will be well rewarded.